This time around, I decided to go with the 1966 Chevy Nova Pro Street by AMT. It was a little frustrating, some of the parts. Always remember to wash all parts in soap and water. I'm going with my workhorse airbrush, painting everything black so the original blue doesn't show through everything. Plus, it's a good way to prime my airbrush for the more important things. But the inside will show if you look through the windows. I'm going in slow motion. I did a lot of painting on this one. Did some brush painting too. I don't like to use the airbrush with small parts. Sends them flying across the room. That's never good. Especially if you lose the parts. Got the oil pan, the engine block. I used gunmetal for the shiny parts. I tried to use another chrome paint, but it didn't work too well. First parts together, the engine block. Oil pan on, valve covers. The engine wasn't that hard to do. There were some parts that weren't cooperating, but not so much with the engine. Trying the chrome paint here. Didn't work out too well. I ended up going totally with the gunmetal. Engine mostly done. There goes the fan. There's a starter. Here's the carburetors. Went on nice and easy. I thought this was going to be a real easy model to build. Some of it was frustrating, but not a lot of it. Worked out pretty good. I decided to put these on without painting them first. I decided to paint them after they dried. Bloop. Some touch up here. I did a lot of touching up as I went. There's the intakes. Finally painting the carburetors. There she is. Let it all dry. Getting the pipes for the manifold ready. These did not go on straight, and it caused a little problem later on, but just a minor one. got them attached. Little did I know they're not on straight. Time for the distributor. Tiny, tiny parts. Here's the firewall. I'm painting those gunmetal on the inside. The outside were black, so the blue doesn't show through. Here's the sunshine early in the morning. Dashboard. Interior. I just love that airbrush. Some of the parts I decided to paint while they were on the mold frame, and it seemed to work out pretty good. All I had to do was touch up where I had to cut them off. Interior doors. I was worried this red and blue together was going to make purple, but it turns out the red, after a couple coats, worked out pretty good. Firewall going in. Not too much trouble. Engine compartment. Cross member for the transmission. Painting the handles and the window roller with the gunmetal. Same thing with the steering wheel and the instruments. In retrospect, I should have painted the pedals. All right, so wheel brackets going in. These were a big pain in the butt. The parts that go in the holes had, I had to trim them down. And then the holes themselves were not big enough, so I had to drill them out. Radiator with gunmetal. Time to touch up. It's always time to touch up. Steering mechanism and the distributor. So I'm cramming the engine in, and because of the pipes, it's not fitting in correctly. But they didn't break off, surprisingly. I did knock off the distributor. I had to put that back in. Oh, master cylinder, sorry. Nice engine. Painting the radiator shroud, putting the shock bolts and brackets in, painting the shock mounts black. I put gunmetal on the edge later on. Shroud goes in with the radiator. Put the wheels together. I use the clamps. One wheel, two wheels. So I use this new paint for the exterior and for the body, and it gummed up two of my airbrushes, so I'll never do that again. I had to clean them and clean them. Deep clean. I finally got the paint on there. I liked it because it was metallic. I had to use 2000 grit sandpaper. I wet sanded where it blotched. And it turned out pretty smooth. I was lucky, very lucky. Time for the pipes, the exhaust pipes. I had to trim a lot on this AMT model. Gunmetal again, and then black for the brackets. Gunmetal for the suspension, the differential. Little touch up here and there. Painting on the tree again, as I call it. Drive shaft. Just testing. This is just a test. So I ran into a little trouble because the instructions weren't that instructive. I thought this was going to be it, but I had to take it all apart again and then put one side in with the shock absorber, and then put the differential and the axle in, and then put the other leaf spring and shock absorber. Putting the interior together. The rear seat for some reason was troublesome, but I finally got it. Shifter. Now, the Novas I've known all my life had 3 on a tree, so I'm not too sure about the authenticity of this model. Seats went in without too much trouble. The sides were really troublesome. I never got them on straight, really. And if they were on the outside, I would have put some molding or something. But since they were on the inside, I wasn't worried too much about it. Whoops. Yeah, so I had to drill the holes here to make everything fit properly. I had to get out the big guns for the rear axle. Would not fit. I was very careful not to destroy everything. I fully expected everything to fall apart, but it worked out. Got the tires on, front tires. I had to do some fancy things. Put the steering wheel on too. Tape everything up because they weren't lining up. Getting ready to put the decals on. The first one broke, so I had to be very careful to line everything up. And it finally worked out. You can barely tell unless you look very close. Did some touch-ups while I was on that side. Fuel tank. All right, the second decal went on a little better. It did not break. I was worried here because my finger was sticking to the decal. I did moisten them. Still stuck. Nice decal. Touch up. Windshield wipers. I used an enamel for the gloss. I used acrylic wash. So with that, you have to use the paint thinner. The gloss brought out the metal flakes really nicely. You can see it in the sun. The acrylic wash worked out very well. I was really surprised. I might do this from now on instead of using the acrylic gloss. But I liked how that worked out. This wash dried very quickly, and it acted a lot better than the ink wash. It filled the lines in very well. So with the paint thinner, you don't really have to worry about damaging what's underneath the enamel. Just make sure you dab the extra paint thinner off of the cotton. You don't want to wash out the work you've done to make the lines come out. Hood's done. Put the fancy chrome on it. Decal license plates, they behaved very well. Nice decal. Almost ready to put it all together. Put in the windshield and the rear window. I didn't put the side windows in. I figured people wanted an unobstructed view of the interior. Just had to do some minor prying to fit everything together. Again, I expected everything to fall apart, but it didn't. I had to lever some of it. Time for the front bumper and the rear bumper after clipping these filler parts. You might notice some hair on my sleeves. I have a big dog and he sheds all the time, even though we take him to the groomer. So if I have hair on my sleeves, it's not my hair. It's my dog. His name is Max. Bumper's going on. Had to tape this one on. Getting ready for the hood brackets and hinges. And I forgot to include the wheelie bars, but it was pretty basic. Fancy chrome, front, rear, both sides. Not too troublesome. Painted on the taillights. I was surprised there wasn't a decal for that. More chrome. This was a good model. I appreciated Mike Jarvis and Casey Jarvis for this present. I figured I might as well do this model. And it worked out pretty well. Can't beat a Nova. So the end result was very nice. I'm going to have to take the intakes off if I want the hood to close. But I think I'll leave it as it is. Beautimous. Now I need to find an acrylic metal flake, so there's a shop in Palm Springs, so I'm gonna look around there. I really enjoyed this build. I might do some more cars later on. Have a great day, y'all, until the next video.